Ladies and gentlemen, for our invocation, please welcome Nisha Powers, President of Powers Hill Design and WFGM Board Member.
Good morning. It is absolutely a breathtaking view from up here where I stand. Each of you looks so vibrant and beautiful and engaged, and I feel honored to be here in front of you. I will lead us in the invocation today, and as I pray the way of my faith and led by my heart, I understand that there are many gathered today of differing faiths, and I ask that you do as your heart leads you to do. Let us bow our heads and close our eyes and hold the hands of those with us if we choose. Dear Lord, thank you that you know each of us by name and that you brought us here together with a grand purpose. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and for the honor of bearing our appropriate responsibilities. Thank you for the example set by the legends among us today who have been recognized for their fervent giving. We especially are thankful for the partners of the Women's Foundation for a Greater Memphis, who are the heart, the hands, and the feet who toil daily for the Memphis community. As you told us in Ecclesiastes 4, 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Inspire us, Lord, to labor not for ourselves alone, but also for those who may need a hand up, with a vision of building for the future a world better than we know today. We ask, Lord, that understanding triumphs over ignorance, generosity triumph over indifference, and hopes and dreams triumph over cynicism. We ask that you guide us to use our resources wisely and well, to represent all members of our community fairly, to make decisions that promote the common good, to act as trusted servants. We seek your blessings on our gathering and each one here today. We seek your blessings on our meal, that it nourishes us to continue the good work. I ask a special blessing for our keynote speaker, Ms. Felicia Butterfield-Jones, that her words move us to do our part. And as I tell my sweet Lucas every morning, help us to be kind to one another and to be brave for one another. I pray these things in the sweet and comforting name of Jesus. Amen.
You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find that fighter, but I see it in you, so we gonna walk it out and move mountains. We gonna walk it out and move mountains. And I rise up, rise like the day. I rise up, I rise unafraid. I rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. I rise up, high like the waves. I rise up, in spite of the ache. I rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you, for you. when the silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet and move mountains, bring it to its feet and move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day, I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again for you, for you, for you, for you. All we need is hope. And for that we have each other. And for that we have each other. And we will rise, we will rise, we will rise. Oh, we'll rise. And I rise up, rise like the day, I'll rise up. In spite of the ache, I will rise 1,000 times again. And we'll rise up high like the waves, we'll rise up. In spite of the ache, we'll rise up. And we'll do it 1,000 times again for you. For you, for you, for you. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Where am I at? Please remember to silence your cell phones at this time. The food service will continue as we proceed with our program. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome President of MHM Investments and Chair of the Board of Directors of the Women's Foundation for Greater Memphis, Mary H. McDaniel.
Well, good afternoon. Oh, you can do better than that. Good afternoon. Great. Was that song not wonderful? Thank you. So I am Mary McDaniel, and I would like to welcome you to the 2018 Annual Tribute Luncheon. As I look around this room today, I am inspired by the collective support here. You are what make this work possible. So thank you to our sponsors, to our donors, to our friends. We are grateful for your support. Thank you for bringing your guests, and a big thank you to one and all. Now for the really good news, and please listen up. About an hour ago, we held a press conference and announced our 2018-2019 commitment of $1.2 million for our Vision 2020 plan. Thank you. Now, some of you will remember about 3 years ago at this tribute luncheon, we introduced a vision we had for the future of Memphis called Vision 2020. This strategic plan has an overarching goal to reduce poverty by 5 basis points over the next 5 years in one of the most impoverished areas of Memphis, which is zip code 38126. Now, since 2016, we have made a total commitment to Vision 2020 totaling almost $3.7 million. Now, that's not all. We are proud to announce that this year, the Women's Foundation received the Annie E. Casey Foundation Evidence to Success grant of $450,000 over the next 3 years. Now, if you don't think that good things are going on in Memphis, let me tell you, Memphis was one of 6 cities in the entire country that was selected to host the Evidence to Success program. So this is a big dot deal. Next, we also received a $500,000 award from Walmart's Diversity and Inclusion Grant for our National Philanthropic Collective of Young Women's Initiative. Now, how many of you can agree that we must invest in our young women and young children? I would like to acknowledge and thank our Board of Directors, our Board of Trustees, and our annual Leadership Luncheon Roundtable. And I'd like for them to stand wherever they are, all over the building, our Board of Trustees, our Board of Directors, and our Leadership Roundtable. You can find them on pages 15 and 33 in your program book. I'd like to thank this group of people that's standing for all of their hard work, out of their dedication to our mission, and for the vision to make this event possible. Next, I would like to ask all of our elected officials all over the building, elected officials, please stand and let us recognize you. Know that we thank you for your continued support, and we thank you for your service to our community. I also want to recognize our committees, our volunteers, and our staff, because we could not do this work without you. So let's give them a round of applause, please. For the past 23 years, the Women's Foundation for a Greater Memphis mission has been to encourage philanthropy, foster leadership among women, and support programs that enable women and children to reach their full potential. We have had hundreds of donors and volunteers to step up to become a part of embracing and seeing our vision for 38126 and Memphis come to full fruition. Today, we hope that each and every one of you will also take part in helping us realize this vision. This year, I'd like to announce that we again have the Hyde Family Foundation Challenge of $50,000. So any gift that you give today, and I think you probably can find envelopes on your table, any gift that you give today will go toward our $50,000 Hyde Family Foundation Challenge. So I'm always asked, Tawan, how can I support the Women's Foundation? Well, I'm glad you asked. You can renew your annual gift, if that is one way you can support, or you can join one of our giving circles. That's another way you can support. Or you can commit your time and your talent as a volunteer. However you decide to support the Women's Foundation, know that you can make a difference. Take action and help us with our Vision 2020 goal. You will hear more about our partners, and you'll hear more about our community impact later in this program. So as we continue to move our Vision 2020 plan forward, our theme this year is simple: help a woman, help a family, change a community. Again, our mission this year is very simple: help a woman, help a family, change a community. Now, we are so proud of the support that we give to Latino Memphis and their Young Women's Leadership Program. They have been longtime grantee partners. Today, I want to personally salute the Executive Director, Mauricio Cavo, who is the Executive Director, and his wife, Yancy. They should be out there somewhere. I've got good news to tell you about them. A few days ago, Mauricio and his wife, Yancy, became U.S. citizens. This was especially touching for me because over 10 years ago, Mauricio and I went through Leadership Memphis together, and we also, 10 years later, went through Leadership Tennessee together. So congratulations, Mauricio and Yancy. Finally, we appreciate the generous support from all of our sponsors, which allow the Women's Foundation to be a leading organization, leveraging regional and national resources to create social change in the Memphis community. A list of all of our sponsors can be found in your program book and are displayed on the screen throughout the program. Thank you again to everyone that's here today, and we hope you enjoy our program this afternoon. Again, thank you.
I would like to welcome to the stage officers from one of the most respected and influential companies in Memphis and worldwide, the presenting sponsor of the annual tribute luncheon for the past 18 years, FedEx. Please welcome Women's Foundation Leadership Roundtable Corporate Sponsorship Committee Co-Chairs Christine Belling, Vice President, Global Strategic and Financial Planning, FedEx Express, Tracy Schultz, FedEx Services, Vice President IT, FedEx Freight.
All right. Good afternoon. I am absolutely thrilled to be serving as this year's co-chair along with Tracy Schultz of the Corporate Sponsorship Committee. Serving in this leadership role has given us opportunities to personally connect with the phenomenal work of the Women's Foundation of Greater Memphis. This year's theme is Moving the Vision Forward, and FedEx is proud to be a part of this movement. 1 week ago, FedEx celebrated its 45th birthday. Over the years, we have learned a lot about moving visions forward, growing and innovating. We officially began operations on April 17, 1973. To put this into perspective, it was the same year that Godfather won the Oscar for Best Picture, and Secretariat as in the original, not the movie, won the Triple Crown. At that time, FedEx had 389 employees. Today, with a brand focused on service and solutions, FedEx has 425,000 dedicated team members across the globe, with 30,000 right here in Memphis. Our growth is attributed to the diverse and talented team of women and men who've helped to keep the global marketplace thriving and connected. However, we have not been blinded by our success. Throughout our history, community service has remained a hallmark of FedEx. As corporate citizens, we know that our responsibility extends beyond the balance sheet, and that value comes from making a difference in people's lives. We also know that the path to a better life can be challenging for thousands of women and children in Memphis and Shelby County who live in poverty. But thanks to the Women's Foundation, many of these women and children were able to arise this morning to the rhythm of a new day, a new beginning, and the chance to light a path to their true purpose. When women are empowered, families are empowered, and families are stronger. When families are stronger, our communities are healthier, more vibrant, and productive. Today, we join the Women's Foundation in celebrating the accomplishments of women in every aspect of life, on the job, in the home, in their communities, as mothers, wives, sisters, daughters, leaders, learners, and citizens. As co-chairs, Tracy and I are very proud to be part of this success story.
Thank you, Christine. And good afternoon, everyone. This is a large venue with a lot of excitement, and we are very happy to be here. As a company that has long embraced a culture of giving, FedEx is pleased to celebrate its 18th year as a sponsor of the annual Tribute Luncheon. We proudly salute the 2018 legends, Reverend Sonia Loudon Walker, Anita S. Vaughn, and Frederica Freddie Felt for their lifelong commitments to making our city a better place. Let's give them a hand. FedEx is also delighted that we are able to recently bring the Women's Foundation's Legends art exhibit to our world headquarters that showcase the dedicated work of the 2017 nominees. By sharing the stories and the artwork of the legends, we are helping to inspire women throughout our community to embrace the power of service. Helen Keller once said that although the world is full of suffering, it is also full of overcoming it. That quote speaks volumes about the work that the Women's Foundation is doing. This outstanding organization is one on the front lines of efforts to help reduce poverty in the most vulnerable areas of our city. To reach this goal, the Foundation has raised millions of dollars over the years and invested in many service organizations in our communities. The work that the Foundation is doing with Vision 2020 has brought together leaders and pathfinders of various backgrounds to help women and children reach their full potential. Here in this room, in fact, there are people who are opening doors of opportunity for many women and families, and they're also looking at closing doors with respect to abuse, pain, and poverty that have long plagued our communities. We are truly inspired by your service and extend our sincerest gratitude to each of you. As one of Fortune's most admired companies, our support of the Women's Foundation is also a tribute to the many outstanding FedEx women of various occupations who are contributing to our company's success each and every day around the globe. Most of these women are also giving back to their communities in the most remarkable ways. As co-chairs, Christine and I extend our appreciation to the Women's Foundation Board, staff, and volunteers, as well as our own support system at FedEx and their leadership and their outstanding service on behalf of our great company. With that, we would like to personally thank the Women's Foundation for the opportunity to partner, and we look forward to many great successes as we work together going forward. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Vice President and Managing Director of Development for Hilton, member of the Women's Foundation Board of Directors and Legends Award Committee co-chair, Denise D. Carpenter. Joining her on stage is owner and founder of Bowden Internal Medicine, member of the Women's Foundation Board of Directors and Legends Award Committee co-chair, Dr. Marcia Bowden Marche.
Good afternoon. It's a remarkable privilege to be able to salute our 2018 Legend Award winners today. Created in 2009, the Legends Award has paid tribute to 69 amazing women whose work embodies the mission of the Women's Foundation for a Greater Memphis. Our honorees are all recognized through original art and prose that's created through a collaborative effort between an artist and a writer. We want to recognize all of our past honorees, artists, and writers who are here with us today. Please stand. I also would like to take just a moment now to recognize, take a moment to honor two of our matriarchs who are no longer with us for today's luncheon, but their spirit will always be a part of the Women's Foundation. Join me in honoring and remembering the late Happy Jones, the 2009 Legends Award honoree, and Sylvia Marks, a 2012 award nominee. The 2018 pieces of art and prose were unveiled at the Legends Award reception on April the 12th. They're on display today in the lobby here, and they will tour throughout Memphis at various locations for 1 year before being put on permanent display in the Hall of Legends at Baptist Memorial Hospital for Women. Thank you to our Legends Award presenting sponsor, Baptist Memorial Hospital Healthcare, and our venue sponsor, Caesars Entertainment. The Legends Award honors women in 3 categories that truly embody the mission and the vision of the Women's Foundation. Now, please join us as we take a closer look at the 2018 Legends Award honorees.
It is certainly my privilege to serve as the chair of the Vision 2020 development program for the Women's Foundation, and to be here today to tell you a little bit about our progress in the past several years. For the past 2 years, we've made a significant investment, as Mary has already noted, in the 2020 strategic plan to reduce poverty in 38126, which is the poorest zip code in our community. This is a community that has been underserved and underappreciated, but its unique history and the will and commitment of its residents and its stakeholders provide a great potential for it to become a community where all of the citizens not only survive, but thrive. You know, our city is known for many things. We're the home of the blues. We're the birthplace of rock and roll, no matter what Cleveland thinks. We're the home of Elvis. We're the home of barbecue. But on a very serious note, we're also a home of a group of people who have been pursuing equality and justice for many, many years. And just recently, we had the privilege of celebrating the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. at MLK 50, a moment where we paused to recognize the incredible gift that Dr. King gave to our community by his participation in the lives of so many people who have been fighters and warriors on the forefront of the fight for justice. And Dr. King, who always asked us to look up and look forward, reminded us that there were many challenges that faced us in this community. We've been asking ourselves for the last several weeks, where do we go from here? And I'd like to answer that question by saying Dr. King certainly believed that the path forward included a commitment to fight a war on poverty. And that is our job, all of our jobs. Dr. King very famously said, "There's nothing new about poverty. What is new today is that we have the resources to end it." At the Women's Foundation, we are very proud to play a role in answering, first of all, Dr. King's call to fight a war on poverty, but also to answer the question, where do we go from here? We believe that the investment of time and energy and resources in the vibrant community that we serve at 38126 to provide for those families state-of-the-art technology, quality education from cradle to career, a living wage, career growth opportunities, and access to quality health care and mobility is their right. As Mary told you earlier, we have invested to date in 38126 just under $3.7 million. And today, I have the great honor of giving you a progress report on the results of our investment and our partnership. I want you to know that our work is grounded in families, in women and children in the community. And the results that we're about to share with you are the byproduct of the relationships that we've developed with our partners in healthcare and education, community vibrancy and literacy, and also it's a product of the relationship we have with the amazing members of our community. The overarching goal of Vision 2020 is to reduce poverty by 5% in that zip code, which is the poorest in our community. And we focus on that with 5 key areas. First of all, we make certain that we provide wraparound services for every family to make sure that all of their resources are provided to meet their basic needs. Secondly, we provide job skills and job training. We provide early childhood education. We provide youth development opportunities, and we provide financial planning and education. Through our continued partnership with the University of Memphis, an amazing resource for our entire community, and their Center for Research and Educational Policy, we're able to provide some measurable, quantifiable results on our outcomes and our successes in the first 2 years of our investment. So I'm very proud to share with you that the return on investment for the $3.7 million we've invested to date is really monumental. There are approximately 3,500 residents in 38126, and when I made a report to you last year, I noted that when we began our process, we had single-digit employment numbers, not single-digit unemployment numbers, but single-digit unemployment for the residents of that community. And I was very proud to share with you last year that we had 275 individuals who were working full-time. Today, I can report to you that 623 people in 38126 have now been placed in jobs and have steady and permanent employment, and that 31 of them have started their own business or micro-enterprise. I told you last year that we had 123 children who were enrolled in early childhood education. And today, I can report to you that 543 children are involved in early childhood education and care. In 2017, our numbers for youth education development had exposed about 700 children to programs that would allow them to make better choices and find better alternatives in their life. And this year, we served 1,683 children with youth and development programs. In addition, 850 young women have participated in a Girls Summit, which celebrated the anniversary of Title IX, and I can say I was one of the very first beneficiaries of Title IX, so here's a shout out for all of us who made it through. When I told you last year that we had increased the income in 38126 by 20%, I thought that number was going to be impossible to match. But today I can tell you that in the past 2 years, we have increased the income in that zip code by 44%. And finally, I'm very proud to say that there are 7 residents of 38126 who are now homeowners. As you can tell, I'm very moved by these numbers because I know that it's just the beginning of what we're going to be able to do if we continue to work together, first in 38126, and then to carry our program on to every part of our community that needs our help. But while these numbers are important, every one of these numbers is representing a story, and every one of those stories has a name. So today I just want to take a moment to humanize for you in the person of Lillian and Rhonda and Tanisha and Latasha and Darianisha and Shantanique, a few of our stories. Lillian came to MIFA to receive a food pantry voucher for her family. She's a cancer patient who's currently receiving chemotherapy, but every day after she leaves her chemotherapy, she goes home to take care of her disabled brother and her 90-year-old mother. And the basket that we provided, the vouchers that are provided by MIFA and the food pantry, make it possible for Lillian to care for her family and for her well-being and to worry about one less thing. Rhonda and Tanisha are 2 graduates of advanced Memphis programs. Rhonda is now living in 38126 and Tanisha in South Haven. They are 2 of the women that we told you about last year who were working toward purchasing their first home. And they did it. Rhonda in May and Tanisha in July. And I will say that their story is not a number anymore, but it's a place that they go home at night with pride and put their head on their pillow to know that they've accomplished something that was once just a dream. Letitia is a graduate of Emmanuel Center Youth Programs, and this year in December, she accepted her master's degree in nursing from the University of Memphis. All of us know how important nurses are to us, their loving care for us, and the opportunity that they have to take all of us in the times we're in our greatest need is such an important part of who we are and what we are. And I say her story is no longer a number, but a name, and many other names that will be changed. There's a grandmother right now who's in the Early Success Coalition because she wants to learn how to read well enough that she can read her grandchildren a bedtime story. That's way more than a number in my book. Darianisha is a member of the Booker T. Washington Lady Warriors basketball team, and she will be representing the Women's Foundation at a Young Women's Initiative Council meeting at the United States Women's Conference in Los Angeles in May. And we can only imagine how many lives she will touch in the future with her leadership. Shantanique is a graduate of Booker T. Washington High School. Yep. She found her passion for science through the University of Memphis Girls Experiencing Engineering program, and she is now a biology major at the University of Memphis. And she's serving in the position of a STEP ambassador for the program with Boys and Girls Clubs. She's way more than a number. She's a woman who's reaching out. She'll probably change all of our lives in the future, but she's certainly changing lives right now. These accomplishments and so many others are the result of the tireless efforts of our grantee and community partners. And I know many of them are in the room with us today, so if we could take just a second, if you would stand up, if you're a representative of one of our grantee partners or community partners, would you please stand and be recognized? As we say often, the work of our hearts is the work of the hands and feet of our grantee partners, and we are eternally grateful. Together, we've been focused on 38126, and we are moving forward. We see a stronger future and a change in our community, and that's all of our responsibility. I have to say, we feel we're stepping up to answer the question, where do we go from here? And we're carrying on the fight that was rightly started by Dr. King. But what we'd like to ask you to do today, we have more than doubled our performance numbers, and today, as a result of our friends at the Hyde Foundation and their challenge grant, we have the opportunity to double every dollar that is donated to us today, every dollar. So we ask you to reach back, think about your blessings and your obligations to help those who need our help, and to remember that it's bread on the waters. And next year when we give this report, the stories will be more, the numbers will be larger, and you'll be a stakeholder in making that happen. I ask you to think very hard about how you can do something to change the future, how you can be an investor and stakeholder in our mission, Vision 2020, to change first 38126 and then our entire community. Please help us double our 2020 vision with your donation today. Many thanks.
I'm 18 years old and I attend Booker T. Washington High School. I graduated May the 20th of this year from Booker T. Washington High School. I started August 2015. I didn't want to come at first, but my sister made me come. Cause I was in high school, I needed the money to help pay for my school and help support my younger sister. I'm an introvert and this is an opportunity my sister saw for me to be more out there. The culinary class and the automotive class. Cause I can learn stuff here that I can't basically learn at home. I like that we can get hands-on experience and instead of reading in books, cause I'm more like a visual learner and hands-on. I always come have a fresh odor smell, have a clean hygiene, and then I always come prepared, ready to learn something new. I'd say what the soft skill class, they help me cause I got stage fright, and they help me with it. Every time I come up here, I always gotta get up and speak. My heart race, so I always mess up my words, but sometimes they always help me with that. Actually, they had a little program called G. They went to the University of Memphis, Gears Experience Engineering, and that's how I got the field to go to the University of Memphis, and it's close by the house. I will be attending the University of Memphis, and I will be staying on campus to get the experience, and I will be studying biology to be a veterinarian. Basically help my mom out, buy them clothes and shoes, not pay my phone bill.
Okay. So you had to learn some responsibilities with you?
Yeah, it's tiring.
It's tiring?
Yeah, too many of them.
Having to take care of so many in the family? Yeah. So, did you get to use some of your money for you?
I help pay for some of my senior fees, and I help pay for some of my trip when I went to Africa. The program that the Boys and Girls Club had introduced me to is One Step Initiative. It's a non-profit organization that get high school kids from 9 to 12 the experience to go overseas and get new experience in a new culture. I could say I would like to thank the Women's Foundation for supporting the Boys and Girls Club, because I say without the Boys and Girls Club, me especially and the people who are here would not take the step they are doing right now. Because me coming out to South Memphis and being an only child, I said only child, sorry, and being the first child of 10 to go to college and to go to Africa, it's amazing. Yeah, hold on, yeah.
To introduce today's keynote speaker, please welcome retired Director of Corporate Communications for FedEx and Women's Foundation Development Chair, Shirley Clark Barber.
Thank you. That's hard to follow, isn't it? Good afternoon, and I join everyone in saying thanks to each of you for being here today. And before I get to introduce the speaker, I get to introduce our signature scarf. Just in case you've been looking at all of these beautiful scarves that people have been wearing, I'm sure that you've asked yourselves, how can I get one of those, right? I'm going to tell you. Each year, a New York designer, Hilton Hollis, creates for us a new scarf. And this year, you may purchase those in the lobby or online if you're dashing out the door later for $70. And when you wear it, you can think of us and all the wonderful work the Women's Foundation is doing. Now to the introduction of our keynote speaker, Felicia Butterfield Jones. This is her first visit to Memphis, but there is a Memphis connection, and many of you are going to be familiar with that because her husband, Dante Jones, began his NBA career with our Memphis Grizzlies. Now, while many of us who've been season ticket holders from day one cheered fondly for Dante while he was here, that has absolutely nothing to do with while she's here today. You see, the annual tribute luncheon is our way of celebrating not only women's leadership, but their commitment to introduce and expand opportunities for others. So when we invite a keynote speaker, we look for an individual that really embodies and encompasses our core values. And I hope by now you've heard those enough that you know they are philanthropy, collaboration, and leadership. We value the contributions of women in our city, in our nation, and around the world. We value racial, ethnic, economic, religious, educational, social, and gender diversity. And we seek to understand the complexity and the depth of the many barriers that prevent countless women from reaching and maintaining their economic self-sufficiency. We value independence, self-reliance, and interdependence, and for all of the women as they strive to help others reach their full potential. I love this quote from Felicia. When she was asked about the Women's Foundation, she said, "I'm grateful to the Women's Foundation for a Greater Memphis for committing their time, talent, and resources to lift up the advancement of women and children. I'm humbled to be involved with an organization that continues to set the standard of servant leadership. Now is the time for us to collectively come together to engage and empower each other." Isn't that a beautiful quote? As a globally recognized executive, philanthropist, and community leader, Felicia has been hailed as one of the most critical young voices of our time. As a philanthropist, she is co-founder and CEO of WEEN, the Women in Entertainment Entertainment Empowerment Network, the world's leading nonprofit organization committed, and listen to this, committed to supporting a balanced and positive portrayal of women in the entertainment industry and in society. Because she's a leader, she was appointed to serve in the Obama administration as Deputy Director of Public Affairs for International Trade. And now, as an executive for Google, she is the global head of women and black community engagement. She's a trailblazer. She set out to diversify the tech industry through programs such as Howard West, a program that first began with training and mentoring Howard University STEM students, and that is now expanded to 9 colleges and universities. So now you know why we invited her to speak today. You can read more about her in your program, but for the moment, please join me in welcoming Felicia Butterfield Jones.
Good afternoon. How's everyone feeling? I first just want to thank Shirley so much for that warm introduction. It is truly an honor and a privilege to be here with you this afternoon. I still pinch myself when I'm in rooms like this because of the journey that I will share with you today, but just know that I am so humbly grateful and honored to serve today as your keynote speaker. I also want to thank, first, the Women's Foundation of Greater Memphis for inviting me to be here today, and your leadership. Mary McDaniel, your board of directors, your board of trustees, and all of your distinguished honorees today. If you could stand again so that we may salute you. Thank you. And we cannot forget Ruby Bright, Shantae Avant, all of your staff and volunteers who are in this room. If you may please stand so that we may too salute you. To the entire organization, your grace, your hospitality, welcoming me here in Memphis, and your commitment are unmatched. And that's why we are all here today. And so we want to say thank you, because the work that you do sets the tone and the blueprint and the model for our entire nation. So I say thank you for that. We are watching and we salute you. So let's give them another huge round of applause. And our sponsors, FedEx. Let's give them a round of applause. Because we in this room know the importance of corporate partnership. So thank you for the investment in us as women and in our children and in our communities here, because it will go a long way. You are helping enable so many young people who don't yet have an opportunity to sit in these rooms to have a shot. So I just want to say thank you to FedEx and all of our corporate sponsors. And then finally, I would be remiss if I did not mention my experience here in Memphis last night. I had the honor and privilege, as we celebrate the 50th anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy, to tour the National Civil Rights Museum. And Terry Freeman and the entire team, first I just want to say thank you for that moment. And as I walked through the halls, it was so interesting, and bear with me for a moment. I had a moment where I just felt the spirit and the legacy of our ancestors. I mean, I felt it. So bear with me, but I could feel the spirit of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and I could feel the spirit of the women of the movement, like Fannie Lou Hamer, like Rosa Parks, like Coretta Scott King. And then this is when it got a little interesting. The tour guide, as he walked me through the museum, reached to a wall of around 50 buttons and just randomly presses a button, and a voice plays of a civil rights leader, and I screamed because it was my father. That happened last night. And I, as you can imagine, could not believe. I was like, okay, he had to know. And he said, ma'am, I had no idea that was your daddy. But my father, is Congressman G.K. Butterfield of North Carolina, and you could hear in his voice, and during that moment, him telling the story of his generation during the civil rights movement. And so I did what anyone would do in that moment in 2018. I took a selfie. And I FaceTimed my dad to share the moment with him. He turns 71 years old next week, and so I just want to say, first, shout out to technology. Shout out to the museum for making that happen, and most importantly, big shout out to all of you for really maintaining the legacy of that generation and for all that they mean to us. And so it is meant for me to be here in this very moment, in this very room, for this very purpose with all of you. That is affirmed. And so I know that I'm here not only representing myself, but tens of thousands of young women and young black women who don't have an opportunity for their voices to be heard. So I take this privilege very seriously. I remember growing up in the 80s, I'm 40 years old, growing up in the 80s in a rural town in North Carolina called Wilson. By a show of hands, who has heard of Wilson? About 5 to 10% of the room. And I remember my parents, who are both public servants, working to the bone to provide for our family. And our town was like many towns in the South, especially then, but still now, plagued with sexism and racism and misogyny and extreme poverty and all of the things that you see, especially in the South. And although our family lived comfortably and our parents worked hard, we were rare. And we realized in that moment that whenever we would leave the confines of our home, we experienced and faced the realities of our brothers and our sisters living right there in the same community. People were in despair. And my parents were in the center of that transformation that was and still needed in our hometown. So by my senior year in high school, many of my classmates, true story, had either dropped out, were in jail, or had lost their lives to gun violence, including my boyfriend, and a lot of people don't know this, who was murdered on my prom night. And so that can give you an idea of the trauma that can exist in areas of poverty, extreme poverty like that. And so by the time of a mandatory meeting that I had with my high school counselor, I was very broken as a young woman. I had lost a lot of confidence. And I sat down with her, and she looked over my high school transcript, and she pulled her glasses down and looked over at me and said, "Miss Butterfield, what do you want to do with your life?" And I'll never forget in that meeting, for the first time ever, mustering up the courage to share with her the truth. And the truth was, well, ma'am, I would like to attend a 4-year college and work in the entertainment industry one day. And she snarked and then said, "Oh, so you think you can sing or dance, huh?" And I said, actually, the contrary. And I say this respectfully, but no, actually, I want to understand the business model of the entertainment industry and leverage it to fuel social and economic impact for our community. Pretty heavy for a high school senior. But I meant it. I meant it, and I said it. And she burst out laughing and told me to get my head out of the clouds and to get a trade like nails or hair. And so the meeting was over, but it began. You know what I'm talking about. I mean, she lit unequivocally a fire in me that will never die. Thank you. I became obsessed with understanding why a woman would give a young girl that advice in that moment. I became obsessed with unpacking that level of dream paralysis. And I became obsessed with disrupting a generational cycle of hopelessness in my hometown. And the answer was that because our community was broken, she was broken. And because at 17 years old, I refused to give into, to surrender to her vision for my future, I rewrote mine. And so, thank you. That was 23 years ago. And the journey here and to this moment wasn't easy. There were a lot of setbacks and a lot of setups that all of us have experienced. But it is because of women that I stand here today. Full stop. We know that when we invest in women and girls, the impact of that investment is multiplied because we extend the benefits to create a better life, not only for ourselves, but for our families and build a stronger community. Today, I stand here as a mom of two, a 5-year-old son and a 5-month-old son. Thank you. I don't know how I'm standing right now. And I'm asked every day by my friends and my family for my motivation. What keeps you going? What keeps you fueled? What keeps you powering through? And the answer is simple. It is because of all of you. It is because of the young women that we serve, and it is because of our work not being done yet. Your mission and the Women's Foundation's mission to encourage philanthropy and foster leadership among women and support programs that enable women and children to reach their full potential. Full potential is my mission and our shared mission, and the reason that we are here today together. I'm clear of that. And so after high school, I went full speed into my dreams. I graduated from Clark Atlanta University after being accepted to 5 or 6 universities, so take that, academic advisor. But I graduated from Clark Atlanta University with honors, and I ended up working in the entertainment industry. I followed that path and went from intern to executive vice president over a 7-year period. Thank you. And it was during that experience working in the entertainment industry for companies like HBO and Rush Communications that I found my niche. What I thought I wanted to do as a senior in high school was now realized, and I was able to find the impact and learn how to leverage all of this magic in the entertainment industry for social good and for social impact for our communities. And it was there during that time that I was asked by the company I worked for to go to an event for Memphis's own Harold Ford Jr. So random. And Harold Ford Jr. at the time was a congressman, as you all know, who was in New York City for a big fundraiser, and there was a guy in the room of maybe 50 or so people that I was introduced to that no one knew, and his name was Barack Obama. And Barack Obama was kind of just there. He was invited to introduce Congressman Harold Ford Jr. that evening, and Barack was a freshman senator that, again, no one in the room acknowledged or cared to speak to. And we spent that evening about 10 minutes talking about change, talking about the power of women, and talking about the power of young people to shift and shape our country. And that conversation and brief encounter, which was a 10-minute encounter, ended up landing and leading to my appointment to serve in the Obama administration and to serve on the Obama campaign as the National Youth Vote Director. So in these moments, I am always reminded to speak to everyone first. Like, you just never know. But more importantly, it's not always what people can do for you, but how you can pour into them. And that's what that was about. Thank you. There are so many young people already today that I've met with ideas, who have startups, who are planning or are already running for office, and it is our responsibility as we go into these positions to make sure that we are also empowering and lifting them up, even those who are considered at the moment the least of these. And in that room, he certainly was, we were together, not necessarily on the in crowd, but certainly found a common ground, and it worked out. And so today I proudly work for Google, and I was promoted just a few months ago to serve as the Global Head of Women and Black Community Engagement. And thank you. And I'm charged with looking across the corporate landscape, looking across tech and our industry and our company to find the gaps. My job is to troubleshoot, to look for the gaps and the inequities, and even the widening gaps for women, including women of color. And it's a hard job. It's a hard job. When you think about our corporate structures, when you think about all of the success of corporations, it's a difficult job to remain competitive and to think about what are those opportunities and ways for us to close the gaps to increase our competitiveness. And so too often we talk about diversity as being just the right thing to do, but we know that it's a business imperative. And if companies and corporations want to remain competitive, to keep those spots, you have to think of women. You have to invest in us in order to remain at your best. And so invest in women. It's the right thing to do. My story is our story. When I look across this room, I am reminded of our brilliance as women, our tenacity, our grit. And when I think of the statistics of us collectively as the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs, representing 9 million businesses and employing more than 8 million people annually, and as women generating $1.4 trillion in sales, ladies, we have the juice. Our annual buying power of up to $15 million annually as consumers. Ladies, we have the juice. For the 30 million ladies in our country who are over 50 years old, ladies, where you at? You represent the healthiest and the wealthiest and most active generation in our history. And we cannot forget or leave you behind. Ladies, we have the juice. And as the highest college educated group in the nation, ladies, we have. And our voting power right here in this room, we determine our local and our state and our federal elected officials. Ladies, we have the juice. And so it begs the question why. We are seeing and experiencing widening gaps and increased inequities in outcomes for women year over year as we continue to pour into and invest in our communities. From gender pay equity to affordable housing, access to health care, access to capital for our businesses, we must close these gaps. And together in this room, we have that power. I'm also reminded in this room we have more in common than we have in differences. And so when we think about building our movements as women, we have to think more intentionally and more intersectionally to ensure that no woman, regardless of race, sexual orientation, or age, is left behind. That is mission critical to our Vision 2020 success. And so as I close, I want to remind the media and all of us that when you think of women, think of us as not only the right investment, but the necessary investment for our future as a country and as a nation and right here in Memphis. We don't need help as women. We need investment. We don't need support as women. We need partnership. We don't need a hand out. We need a hand up. And be clear, and I say this respectfully, we don't need equality, we need equity. And so to the young people in the room, I will leave you with a quote from a woman that I admire by the name of Shonda Rhimes, who is a TV creator and extraordinaire. And she said words 2 years ago on the Black Girls Rock Award stage that forever stuck with me. And they were this to the young people in the room. Those of us here on this stage and in this room, our careers have been named. Our paths have been chosen. We have picked our mountains and we have started to climb them. Your slates are blank. Your paths are clear. When we are on this stage, we are already history. We are beginning to become the past. You are the now. You are the future. So don't look to us to make the change. You are the change. You are our dreams realized. So stay focused, stay empowered, and we will continue to love you and lift you up. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, thank you. So, you're not done with me yet. I want to bring to the stage Mrs. Ruby Bright. We have a special presentation and call to action. Let's give her another round of applause. All right, so you may look on your tables and find a pair of shades in solidarity. Let's put them on. Okay, you want to go for it? Okay, so ladies, we know the mission, and gentlemen, men who support women, ladies and men who support women, we know the mission. We understand the call to action, and we understand firsthand the impact of this beautiful organization. Everyone in this room right now has the power to make a tremendous change in this organization's trajectory today. And so I ask that you join me and to join Ruby and I in making a gift today. Be a part of moving the vision forward. Make your community, make our community stronger. And remember that your gift will be matched today thanks to the Hyde Family Foundation. So today is important. Be more than just a number and know that there is strength in numbers, especially today with the gift giving match. So you can text right now the word vision, V-I-S-I-O-N. I know you all know that, but just making sure. To 50555 right now to give. Big or small, we encourage you to really pour into this beautiful organization who is doing great work to make moments like this possible, and most importantly, to empower the young women in our communities around us. So I just want to say thank you. Your pledge cards are on the table, so you can either text or make your pledge right here today. Do you want to say anything?
I think she's made the call. Did everyone, can we all say that we really, really had a great day today and enjoyed Felicia Butterfield Jones? My job is simply this. We want you and we need you to give. So there are envelopes in your program booklet, and then you can text to give. So all of you that have shades on, took their shades off.
Wait a second. Hold on. Okay, so I will make a personal pledge of $500 to get this thing started out of my own personal account. So I will do that, and I encourage you all to join me. Thank you.
So thank you very much. We appreciate you being here, and we appreciate your gift. And please, their envelopes are in your packet. And let me tell you, the reason why this is important is because numbers count in this particular case. Not only do we have the opportunity to meet the challenge by the Hyde Family Foundation, we have the opportunity to also meet a challenge with the Annie E. Casey Foundation. We have to raise $150,000 over the next 3 years. All of this will support our work. You've heard about all of the people and their support, and you've seen me, you've heard me ask this every time. What we want to do is go back. We want you, as you get up to leave, and that you are joining us in making a gift. It's not the amount, it's the intent here. So we don't apologize for making that ask, because we know that with our grantee partners, we're making a difference. And so we just want to end this on the highest note that we can, and that is actually to say thank you. Thank you to Felicia, and thank you all for coming. Thank you.